Are you worried about your online privacy? Well, you should be. Nothing works as well as Virtual Shield VPN. Virtual Shield lets you browse the web completely anonymously. So the big-name internet service providers and their third parties will not be able to monitor and sell your internet activity and browsing history. When using our VPN service, your traffic is routed through our secure and encrypted servers. The good news is it's completely free for 30 days, and we can host Mac, Windows, iPhone, iPad, Android, or Chrome. Personal, family, and business plans are available. Just click on the live link in the description box below for more information. Good evening. I'm still reporting on the coup. No single person had more power to expose and defeat this coup than Vice President Mike Pence. But at one of the most critical moments in American history, when Pence could easily have done something which he was mandated to do by the U.S. Constitution as President of the Senate, Mike Pence betrayed his president and the entire nation by pretending he didn't know what the Constitution had to say about his duties. President Trump has graciously not spoken out against Pence since then, making some wonder why. But now we know. Trump was just being his gracious self because on Monday morning on Fox News star Lisa Booth's premiere podcast, he just couldn't contain himself any longer.
If you just take a look, forgetting about all the hoaxes, all the ballot manipulation, all of the many things that took place, so many things that took place, forget all of that. Much of this stuff was not approved by the state legislatures, and in the Constitution it has to be. So just if you look at that, it's too bad that Mike Pence didn't go back, because I think you would have had a much different result had Mike Pence gone. He could have said, "I'm sorry, but this was not approved by the state legislature, and according to the Constitution it has to be." And by that time, as you know, some of those legislatures, if you look at Arizona, if you look at Georgia, if you look at Pennsylvania, and you could go beyond that. I think if you look at Wisconsin, you look at Michigan, some of those legislatures were getting, and legislators were getting they were saying, wow, this is something. I mean, you had cases where you had more votes than you had people voting. Think of it. You had more votes than you had people voting. So Mike Pence could have sent it back and said, "I'm sorry, but you'll have to check this out." And some of those decisions that were made just before the election. And as you know, I think you agree with this, Lisa, it has to go through the legislature. The state legislatures have to approve all of these rules and regulations that they were putting in. You can't do it with a local judge. You can't do it with a politician, with a local politician. It was up to the state legislatures. They couldn't get them to approve. They were Republican. They couldn't get them to approve it, so they just did it themselves. That's a total violation of the Constitution, and the Supreme Court didn't want to hear it. They didn't rule on the facts. They ruled on things like no standing process. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Then Lisa Booth asked the president, and that is the correct way to refer to any former president. You just call them the president, not the former president. So Lisa asked the president about the Biden family.
Are the Bidens bought and paid for by China?
Yes, but beyond bought and paid for, this is not what he campaigned on. He never thought, this is more radical, what he's doing. And I don't even think it's him. I think it's the cabal.
Now let's stop right here. What exactly is this cabal? If we ever get to interview the president, this will be the second question I ask him after delving more deeply into the Pence question. Exactly what is this cabal? Trump doesn't explain it, but he does know what they're after. He said they are trying to destroy our country.
This is more radical than anything that he campaigned on, but this is more radical than Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders never dreamt that they were going to be approving things like they're approving. And it's unbelievable what's happening. This is far more than Bernie Sanders ever thought was possible. And it's disgraceful. and they're trying to destroy our country.
Interestingly, then Trump explained why he thinks Biden canceled the Keystone Pipeline in his first days in office.
But he never talked about the Keystone Pipeline that he was going to close up. How can you do a thing like this? It was passed. It went through Congress. All sorts of things happened. And what about the company? You know, when they talk about all of the people that are devastated, some company put up billions and billions of dollars. You know, the thing is half built. And then all of a sudden they come along and they say, we're going to close it down. People invested all of their money following the pipeline. They opened businesses. They bought little hotels for the people to stay in, and they fixed them. And then all of a sudden, in one day, it's gone. But he never said that during the campaign. On energy, he was, pretty positive on energy. And now we're not going to be energy independent in another few months based on what he's doing. Gas prices are going through the roof.
Just out of curiosity, so you wrote a letter to Joe Biden. He said it was very generous. What did you say to him in that letter?
Well, I don't want to say that's, perhaps up to him. And I guess he said he wouldn't do it without my approval. But basically, I wish him luck. And, it was a couple of pages long. And it was from the heart because I want to see him do well. Hey, look, he's there. But you know what? He's there. And I want him to do well. But that doesn't include closing up the Keystone Pipeline, which, by the way, environmentally is much better than having them on trains. But his friend and supporter, Warren Buffett, has trains. Nobody ever talks about that. Warren Buffett has trains, and he doesn't want to see a pipeline. His train business is dead going to the Gulf, okay? Dead. I mean, think of that. Does anybody – I've never even heard that point brought up. But he's one of his big supporters, liberal guy. And his trains, his railroad would be devastated with the pipeline. So all of a sudden it's cut. Now, I don't know if he'd cut it for that reason, but it couldn't be for environmental reasons because a pipeline is much better than trucks and trains by far. It's also much safer.
So there are three very important historical takeaways from this interview, which covered many other topics of interest. Number one, that Mike Pence betrayed the president at the January 6th joint session of Congress. Number two, the group driving Biden's policy choices is referred to by Trump as the cabal, and their mission is to destroy the United States. And number three, Biden's surprise cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline was likely driven by two factors. The pipeline had reduced the value of Warren Buffett's railroads, who was a major financial supporter of Biden, and number two, it drove a stake in the heart of one of President Trump's signature accomplishments, U.S. energy independence, and that fed the cabal's primary mission, the destruction of the United States. Mr. President, John and Beth and I would like to interview you any Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube live stream. Please get in touch. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day. Every doctor on TV says that we all need to boost our immune systems. And STEM Enhance does that in a unique way by increasing blood levels of your own adult stem cells, the backbone of your immune system, by over 30% in just 1 hour. Click on the link in the description box below for details.